this game. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. You don't even know my pain. You can't even match my style. You don't even know this game. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah, 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 yeah. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah.
I was watching the TV.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it might have been. I told you I've been watching West Wing, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason I asked you that to see how you was gonna respond to it. And they were trying to convince this guy to run for president or whatnot. And he was like, nah. I never thought about it, this, that, and the third, and this, that. And they finally convinced him to run, and they took a tour of the Oval Office. And he was asking the guy again. He was like, so how's it go in your head when you come in here, you sit down, take the desk or whatever? The dude tried to hit him with the, I never even thought about it, man. It was like, nigga, anybody running for this position is doing something that they love. It didn't rain in your head 1,000 times. How you want this to go down? And he like conceded and told him how he seen it working. It was billions. It was billions. That's what billions. It was. I was watching. They just came back on. It was billions, and the dude was asking Mike Pence, and they was asking Mike Pence why he wanted to be president, and he was like, "Yeah, I never even thought about it. I just want to better the country." And he's like, "Man, get the fuck out of here, bro. We know what you're looking for." But
come on.
The reason that we're talking about that, family, is because I asked Mo, he talked about coming back in and how we were going to start the show off this week. I said, well, how'd it go in your head? Because you ain't been here for a couple of weeks. And Mo passed the test, man. He passed the Bronx Tale test. He ain't try to act like, man, I ain't ever even think about it. Like, in your veins, bro. You said it, well, this went through my head 1,000 times. Yeah. Let me tell you, Lou, how I wanted it to do. So the floor is yours, brother, man. Welcome back.
Man, like, let me tell you, well, first off, Spike Lou, you got this, bro. I appreciate it. It's not, y'all see the name of the episode and y'all see all that, but please, y'all don't take it away. I'm leaning into the narrative. That's all. But Spike, I want you to know, and you may already know, how grateful and appreciative I am of you, of continuing steering this ship. But also, I wanted you to know that I never had any, and we didn't have no prior discussion, but I always trusted in your abilities. I always trusted that this was going to be just as good. I trusted you completely, and I was thoroughly impressed. Not that I wasn't going to be, and I really enjoyed the experience of actually getting to sit in the fan seat. That is so different. I never got to do that before, bro. Every operation I've been a part of, I had to be in it. And to be able to sit back and watch another week in the books and actually get to sit on the sideline and watch the team play, it's different, bro. I don't know if you'll ever get to that point where you'll take an experience like that, but it's really different to watch your team like play and you kind of sitting on the sideline with the suit on, like you know what I mean, like waiting to get back. So man, it was crazy.
That's
crazy,
fire.
bro.
That is absolutely right. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to do so and keep it going. And not saying, man, I want to shut it down, so I'm not going to be here. So absolutely appreciate you being able to step aside and take the break and feel confident in the break that you needed. One of the things I know I mentioned before you left, bringing Dro on, friend of the show, and he was like,
yes, sir.
he told me the day, like, bro, you're gonna ruin one of my Fridays, man, because if I'm on there, then I ain't gonna want to listen to it. So wow. I took that into consideration, and I tried to avoid having him come on. It wasn't anywhere. I didn't want to talk to him and them, but I thought that was interesting.
That's
that you
fire.
led it that way and said it to you. He was like, bro, y'all ruin this experience for me. If I'm on here, I want to hear what y'all got to say. So I thought that was pretty dope.
Wow.
Because you had similar sentiment, thinking, being able to sit back and just listen to it. And I appreciate that. I definitely do, man.
Yeah.
So welcome back. What, as you were gone throughout the weeks, man, anything what was on your mind that you was like, damn, I wish I was partying this week? We'll start with that.
Okay. Week 1, you and Derb enjoyed. I wanted more of it. Like that was a shorter one, so I enjoyed it. kind of a little pre-introduction to kind of his marital podcast and you producing it and stuff like that. So I enjoyed that conversation. I was just like, dang, I just wish they went a little longer. Like the conversation was really good and he was getting into some pockets that I was like, yeah, he been married for a grip too, because I'm married, so I know. Like I'm like, oh yeah,
I knew you'd relate to that.
I was like, oh yeah, he's hitting them corners. Like I know exactly what he's talking about. So I was enjoying the bag he was getting in, because it's hard for men, especially married men, when you find one that can articulate like the complexity of being in that role. So I appreciated that. The second week y'all came, then it was Derb and Rich. And that episode about had me in tears. I was like, bro, and shouts out to Rich, man. I know he the honorary third member, you know.
Absolutely, man.
But man, like that situation, bro. I mean, this is bigger than us. Like it really. I know we talk about it, and I know some of y'all listening probably think we stop and celebrate everything, but truth, I mean, bro, like when he told that story about disarming and disengaging that gentleman and got to the root of it just by the foundation of you saying ask more questions, or me saying like, hey, go into it trying to actually work the problem out and not trying to add to it for your own kind of ego or male testosterone, and like just to know how it went. That was powerful, dude. That was man, that's one of the best episodes to me, like of this show, because it's show and prove, like it's applied and it happened. And then
it's
that
been a blessing to have Rich been able to share that right there. That was really dope. I agree with you right there.
Yeah, and in the third episode, like just I love that we talked on the side chat about masculinity versus manhood. And y'all did a dope job. I mean, you talk about learning stuff in real time as a grown up when you feel like you know so much. That was just a great moment to like wow, I guess I didn't see it that way, and I'm glad that y'all went into it. So man, it was all three of the episodes was dope to me. It's fire to me. I realized some things too, and I'm gonna throw the ball in your court. We can get into it, but like podcasting, bro, is like in my identity, dude. Like, it was very hard, y'all. I have to be honest. It was very hard to not come back to the show sooner than what I intended. I was struggling, like, to be like, I'm gonna come back a week early. It was really hard because I realized not only it's work and it's taxing, but I realized the joy that it brings me, and it's my identity. Like, you know how Lil Wayne be like, I am hip hop, or I am music. Like, that's how I feel about podding, and getting off grew my appreciation of doing this and the responsibility, even the workload, but the responsibility that it serves, even though it like I said, it's taxing on like all of the things I have to do outside of this part of it, but it's so worth it. And I missed it so much. And I'm so glad to be back, bro. Seriously, man.
You do get a release from doing this. Like, I had slowed down for a minute because it's off season for a couple other pods. And you do kind of miss it. You miss that, like, having conversation and stuff to say in a space where that's what's looking to be done. Like, so much shit we do now is so quick and non-interactive with people and shorthand, and you're not really getting to the meat of the thicker shit. And that's what podcasts let you do. That's what I enjoy about it, because I'm not a real big talker anyway outside of doing this. So this gives me a place to be able to, you know, do some things, get some points across. I enjoy it. Just like what you're saying. You do miss it.
Why are you not a big talker outside of this? Is it because you do this?
I had a real Spike Lou answer for you. Like, I'm just not interested. If I'm being real with you, like the most honest and general answer for us is I'm really just not that interested. Like, I don't really care. Like, people can say stuff that makes me more interested and start to engage, but I really don't be interested in just having random conversations when I be at. I hate small talk and like.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
you did,
blah,
yeah.
Blah,
you said,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
the small
blah,
talk.
Like, bro, I don't.
So work
care,
must be
man.
a real challenge for you.
Yeah, it is. Man. Anything really public. And the only child stuff too. Like, I didn't come up talking to brothers and sisters and shit when I was at the crib. My mom was at work. I was watching TV or playing video games. Like, I ain't a big like communicative dude. This is where I do it at most. So,
man, bro.
Even go ahead.
Just a sidebar. Like, at my new job, a person that I work with, like they're so like, it's a white person, but they're so different. Like normally I can kind of pick up white people's vibe of like where they going with stuff, but this is just this one person. Like they're like the head of the, and like I don't know I don't even be knowing what you're talking about. I'd be like, dang, bro, I never had that experience with like people I work with. I can kind of pick up, oh, they're into their kids. Oh, they're into sports. I cannot pick up this person, and it throws me. And then I feel like, dang, I'm probably coming off like an asshole because I'm not even doing the fake laugh because I'm not catching the punch. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, it's throwing me off.
Is he like over your department?
Yeah, he's over. Definitely
somebody
over.
you work for directly.
Yeah.
And when you say when you say you're not getting it, like what do you mean? Like what is it destroying you?
It's just like this individual. They have a certain intensity about them. For one,
one of them like
raw
white guys.
Kind of very intense, but not like intentionally trying to be anything. It's just you have like just a personality that you don't know what to do. Like kind of like, I feel like House, like the TV show House. Maybe something like that kind of personality. Not douchey or nothing, but like in that weird, like, wait, what? Huh? I don't like that type of personality, kind of.
Very like obtuse.
Yeah.
Is it in an aggressive way, or is it just like in a nonchalant way? Like, is it, I know you probably won't get this type of shit, or is it like in your face, like, why don't you understand type of shit?
Nah, it ain't even, it's not even why don't you understand? It's just like, I could tell like they're trying to include me into it, into whatever, like, and it's not like, it's everybody
fake,
does. Like, I think it's just the work jargon. It's just that work jargon where you're asking,
but you knew though. You knew.
Fairly
so
new.
He's probably trying to get in your good graces. You're probably the newest person on the team.
Probably, and probably the youngest too.
Yeah. So he's trying to make sure that you can relate to him, but he's falling short.
But but I'm like, I'm trying, but I just don't like. So
what is his thing then? Have you figured it out? If it's not his kids and he's really into this, like, what would you say that he's really into? Like, you ain't found no sidebars with him?
I think so. It's funny. We had an episode called The News, one of the pivotal early episodes. But like, I think he's really into the news. And so there's like, current event stories and like, but not like the normal stories, kind of some like.
Yeah, you could throw someone off because you would be like, I didn't see this big story that everybody in America's talking about.
Yeah, like, I don't even like, when they got to the UFO joint, I was like, huh? Like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, yeah, bro. So it's the little work things we go through as Black people.
Yeah, so he'll probably ask you some shit and you'll be like, what? And he'll be like, no fucking way, you don't know what I'm talking about. Something like that.
Yeah. I don't think he like necessarily acknowledges. It's just like, I don't know where the punch is. And then like you might be talking and then it might just cut off. It's like, oh okay. Like I have no idea. Like it's so unorthodox, bro. Like I cannot. So I really just kind of don't be wanting to say anything. I just want to say, hey, good morning, and kind of get out the way because I'm like, I don't know where to go with you, and I feel weird trying to.
I don't even have nothing in common with you.
Yeah, so I just kind of be like, yeah, let me just do my job. Let my work be kind of the selling point at that point. But yeah, I guess you intro us in then, brother.
All right, man, let's do it. Let's roll into it. This is chapter 56 of Another Week in the Books. We appreciate y'all joining us. Y'all know what we're here for. Y'all know what we do to elevate conversations amongst Black men. Brother Mo has been out for 3 weeks, but he back in full force, and we talking about maturation and progression. Can't wait to hear what you were coming up with when you thought of this, Mo. We'll get into some current events. If you want to holler at us, AWITB2022 at Gmail. Go to the Instagram page, follow us at Another Week in the Books. All that good stuff. Engage, like all the stuff that makes the stuff more popular. Leave a review. Need some of those in our life. All the good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Mo, you said you had a question about something that you heard on deck this week.
Lay
it on me, brother.
All right. So and this is real throwback to Another Week in the Books. This is almost like off deck. So for our OG fans, y'all remember this, but I wasn't doing it necessarily in that vein. It just really was something that stood out. I don't know if y'all were talking about Finesse 2 Times or whoever y'all was talking about, but like You said something where like kind of like talking about like your inspirations instead of saying your styles are blended like this, and then you kind of went further into say like basically in some kind of way you don't get to like crown yourself. The people got to do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
You believe
Yeah.
that?
I'm a firm believer in it. And not from a sense of you should be humble, too humble to claim your position, right? Like you should always feel like you're one of the best to do what you do if you really have a passion for it, but you can't come out and say you're the best. Like I ain't never heard Jordan say that. I ain't never really heard Tom Brady say that. Now, you're not gonna hear him say, this motherfucker better than me, or you're not gonna hear them say that they cool with losing or cool with being second. However, you also won't hear them just like have to say that. I feel like you prove you're the best when you're performing in your field. And in that performance, people start to call you that versus you having to say it. Is that fair?
That's fair. I strongly
sounds
disagree.
like a buck.
I strongly disagree.
In what sense?
Well, okay, so when I read the book from the artist Russ, I know Russ, the Italian rapper, pop star. It's all in your head if y'all haven't got it. It's a $15 book, change your life.
He Italian? I didn't know that.
Yeah. You know, that black and Italian connection is always there. But there was a point in the book where he spoke about, like, he even done it in interviews where he's just like, you want me to wait for y'all to crown me and say I'm good enough, and then if I drop the ball, it's up for y'all. In so many words, it's like I'm not letting y'all control my legacy. Like you can't, like, especially when I know I'm doing it. Like I'm doing numbers, but so for me, I said that, and even like a Kanye, he was early in the game saying I am Walt Disney.
Right.
I am. He was saying these things, but even then, people were looking at him crazy. But now he's showing proof, and now people are like, oh, he is a genius. Oh, he is this. But he's always done that, even when he was like wasn't huge on the Yeezus doc and all that. So the only reason I say that is, I mean, sure, coming out being like you're the best and you're underground. All right, bro, you look like a dude in the comments trying to ask somebody go get your mixtape zip. You know what I mean? But like, if you're in active and you're doing some things, I don't think you have to necessarily wait for people. I think people almost got to catch up at some point if you stay consistent. I just don't. Like, I'm at that point with myself where it's like, no, I know I'm cold. Like, and I'll say it out loud, and that's fine. People are like, nah, you ain't cold. Like, all right, cool. But I don't believe like I have to necessarily wait for, like, people wait till they die to get acknowledged for their legacy or their greatness. I just don't know. I just don't buy into it. When you said that, I was just like,
you don't buy into. So what's the difference between cockiness and confidence to you?
Cocky, it's hard because pause.
And are you okay with cockiness?
I think it's necessary in some areas.
Okay.
It's kind of like the ego thing. You got to have a certain ego. I've been hearing this a lot lately on some podcasts, but like you got to have an ego in certain fields because that's what's going to drive you to move a certain way. Like Jordan, you seen that clip when they're talking about the with the USA. It's like, if the game is on the line, who you want to have the ball? He's like, me. Like, right. What do you mean? So I think you got to have that cockiness in that in certain aspects, but I don't know. They walk a close line, but I think cockiness is like the lack of acknowledgement of other factors. That's what I think. Versus confidence is the same thing, but it acknowledges the other factors. Like, oh, this person's good too. Oh, this person's doing this. All these you acknowledge what's going on. Cocky is like, I don't see none of y'all. I don't acknowledge what's going on. Like, I'm so up here. I'm so this about my creation, my product, what I'm doing. I don't see none of y'all. No acknowledgement.
And that's cocky and that's bad. Because you have Lil Wayne that says, I was the best rapper alive. Or even like let's make it more personal. For me, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm the best podcaster to do this. That's just not my personality. However, if you ask me, do I feel like that I could do this with anybody and compete on the top level and be like just as effective in it as they are, then I'm going to tell you yes. But I still wouldn't go to the step and say, well, I'm the best to do it. Is that what you're talking about? Like, or is that what you're saying that you feel like some people should do?
Oh, I definitely think you should do that sometime. Like I you said that, it's like, yeah, I'm the best. Then you just gotta be ready for the follow-ups. All right, why you best? You go into why? Because it's not about, to me, it's everything like
But that don't turn you off as a consumer, like as a person who's fan of people.
It used to.
That's okay. So that thought process, it don't no more.
No. Mm-mm.
What changed?
I mean, like I said, when I used to listen to them Russ interviews, he really like changed my whole mentality on it. Cause like I used to be like, dang, this dude cocky. Like he talking crazy. I'm like, bro, we don't even know you like that. But then I was looking at them interviews. I looked at that pull up with Joe Budden years ago. I read his book, and then I was like, nah, I understood completely what he was talking about. If I had to quote, I would have pulled it up. But like when I understood where he was coming from, I was like, nah, he's right. Like, so I subscribe to that same thing. I mean, there's ways to do it, but it's like if I feel like I'm the hardest working man in podcasting because I do this many things, then I am. Like, and
I guess I'm kind of on the fence with it. I'm open to, like, I appreciate confidence, cockiness. Like, I appreciate people that can pop their shit. But not unprovoked though. Right? Like, I don't want a nigga to walk in a room doing it.
Well, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want a nigga, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't want the nigga to grab the mic, gotta let you know, man, right. I do this and I got this much motion, and like, bro, I don't give two fucks.
That ain't what.
However, I know you don't, but I just want to be clear. Because there's two different ways to do it, though,
yeah,
right?
You're right.
Like,
you're right.
If a nigga can test you and got you fucked up, oh, I really appreciate the rebuttals to that. Like a nigga to be like, nah, you really don't know who I am. On some shit like that. Mm-hmm. Like I have no problem with that. However, what my issue would be is people who are too, I don't want to say lazy, they're too confident and they haven't put in the work that they need yet. To circle the point back around to finesse two times in the example. Like he was saying that he a little bit of Gucci Man, a little bit of Yo Gotti, a little bit of Doe B, and it was somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, the response that you're going to get from that is like, bro, you haven't done enough work to compare yourself to them people. You can say that they influence me, but you can't say I'm a little bit of each of them, because all of them have a lot more success than you have. So that's the place that I'm, even in the comparison that I gave on there when Steph Curry was talking about Magic Johnson, it really wasn't a good comparison, because the guy, Gilbert Arenas, was interviewing Steph, and he asked Steph, do you think you're the best point guard ever? I do appreciate a nigga being like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about a Magic Johnson or a John Stockton or none of that. I'm that dude. I appreciate someone doing that, but I don't appreciate a nigga being like, again, involuntarily as Moneybag Yo was doing. Like, you can't just up one day on Instagram or Twitter and be like, nigga, I'm a mixture of these people. Like, bro, stop.
Okay.
Like, people gonna roast you for that one. Like you said, now back it up.
Yeah.
Now what you got to do is be relevant for 10 to 15 years. You got to sell millions of records. Like, you got to do the people that you got to do that now.
Yeah.
But if you on the back end of you, Steph Curry, or like you saying with me, like if you've worked hard enough to be able to pop your shit, then pop your shit, of course.
Okay.
But if you haven't, then don't. That's
hard. And that's hard to gauge the merit of what's hard enough work. You know what I mean?
And that's why I asked what you thought about the difference between confidence and cockiness is. Because the confidence, I feel like that comes with doing the work, and you have done it. You've done these things, so you feel confident enough to say, if you Wayne, I'm the best rapper alive. And I dare any nigga to say anything about that. Fact. He had the confidence to say that because he had done the work. I've been doing these freestyles. I've been on all these verses. I'm accomplished in this. Versus a nigga just being like, nigga, I'm the hottest nigga out. Nigga, check me out. Like, bro, I ain't got to check you out if you the hottest nigga. I would know.
Yeah, I know y'all had that. Yeah, I was say similar, like y'all, you said years ago, the on deck thing when y'all do was like, how come I ain't never heard of y'all? Like, yeah, it's like,
yeah, nigga, I don't know you.
Like for some, so, and I know we'll move on. It's been a while, so y'all gonna have to bear with us. But like recently, like on IG, so I have another Instagram. I got a few Instagram, but like I have an Instagram blend. It's called Soprano Peaks. It's Sopranos and Twin Peaks. So I have been actively putting in the work. I told y'all about this before, but like I wanted to put myself into a space. Can I create on a consistent level? Can I create this art? Can I create these video blends? And I've been consistent, dropping some every day, just seeing how I can do it. I recently got up to over 1,000 followers. That's more than any page. That's more than this page, Another Week in the Books, any page I'm involved in, because I put in the work. So recently, one of the other pages tagged like me and like 9 other IG pages. So there's tons of pages that have like, that are like referenced within this world of like Twin Peaks or whatever. But like, he only tagged the ones he felt was like the dopest, really. So he tagged all of us and made like these blends of like basically shooting up all of our characters from our shows or whatever. So I already felt like, yeah, I am that nigga. I knew I'm that guy. Like, I already knew I was that guy. So when he did it, I went right to the office and I said, "Oh, we doing that?" I made a video blend getting back at him. Like, and these other people got like 20,000 followers, 15,000. I only got 1,100, but I'm in that bag. And I always felt that way when I was at 400, when I was at 5. Like, so I'm learning, but like you said, it is unprovoked. I wasn't out loud saying, "Hey, yo, Supreme Peaks is the best, TV show blend pot." Like, I ain't do none of that. But like, I always knew that I'm one of the dopest there. I know. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Unprovoked, you look nuts. You're right.
Yeah, like nobody want to hear that.
Yeah,
like, because people will find you. Like,
Yeah.
if you know what you're doing, like, people will find you. Like, it eventually happens if you are consistent enough and you good as you say you are. Like, motherfucker that's in that industry gonna come across you and be like, "Oh shit, where this been at all my life?"
Let me ask one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Are you top 5 podcasters? Because I know you'll say who's better than you. So then where do you stand?
I don't know if it's 5 people that I would feel like are better than me to do this.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm just
I
trying
don't
to
think so.
gauge your confidence, cockiness level, trying to see where you at with it, because you'll run down the catalog. So that's why, I want to see where you at. But okay.
And then what'd you think about where I said I was at with it?
What?
What'd you think about where I said I was at with it?
With what?
Is that
Oh, right here?
You asked me whether, you asked me whether I top 5, and my response was, I believe so. And to you, that would say what?
I'd be like, all right. But if I'm you, I'm like, yeah. Yeah. You asked. I told you. Like, bro, sell it. Sell it. You can't be Richie April. You got to sell it. I'm top 5, bro.
Didn't sell it.
Huh?
Didn't sell it. I was saying what Junior said.
You should have sold it. You could have sold it. You got the catalog.
I absolutely believe that. 100%. Right. But it ain't 5 people that I feel like can say they done or do as much or as good at what I do with this. Absolutely. I 100% believe it.
I'm going to get you to talk that talk one of these days.
Facts, man. Even though that ain't in my personality, that ain't what I do. I want to just put the numbers on. I want to point to the scoreboard. That's the most effective. Yeah. That's the most effective shit talking that it is pointing to the scoreboard and be like, "Look what I've done. Look how the people have received me, nigga. Look at my as Yo Gotti said, look at my Yo Gotti had a crazy term. Did you listen to his last album?
Nah, man.
That man said he had driveway furniture. Driveway furniture. Think about the flex that I just buy cars that sit in the driveway because they look good there. I don't drive.
He's a wild guy.
$100,000 car. It's here to sit in the driveway. It's driveway furniture. That's crazy.
That's a crazy flex. I'll give him that.
That's,
in the
that's
bravado.
A strong flex right there. That's a strong flex, man. But also to Mo, in additional, relevancy, current event thoughts, something crossed my feed that I wanted to run by you because there was a similar story that we've told on deck before that I felt like was kind of comparable, and I want to see what you think. Mm-hmm. Valdosta State. Valdosta is in South Georgia, real country, small town, right? They have a baseball team. And there was this kid from Jackson State that transferred to their baseball team. And coach told him, "Hey, bro, got to cut the dreads. Can't play on the team. You'll cut the dreads, big dog." Country, but not how I'm saying it. He said it in a country white boy accent that triggers all of us black men. You gotta cut your hair, like some shit like that.
Man, I can hear it now.
So yeah, it's a video out there, him telling him that it don't matter what other players got who are coincidentally white. It doesn't matter that their hair is longer. Yours doesn't look as kept. Those are my words, not the coaches. But you just got to cut your hair to be on the team. And you don't want to cut your hair, you're not going to be on the team. he recorded it, thought it was bad. Now, Admiral Brown had told this story on deck about this guy that we worked with before. He did camera work, production, and he worked for Family Feud.
Yeah.
And he had dreads. And one day he was pulled to the side, and it was Steve Harvey telling him, you would go a lot further in this industry and what you're doing if you cut your hair. Steve Harvey ended up hiring him and moving him to LA to do production on Family Feud. I want to know what the difference is in that, Mo.
In which part? Cutting your hair or keeping it? Or?
What's the difference between, well, one, what do you think about having to cut your hair to meet some type of criteria for other people? And two, what's the difference in AB's story with Steve Harvey telling this guy that, black man to black man, I'm successful, I want to see you be successful, here's a tip for you, versus white coach to black athlete, you have to do this to be on the team. What's the difference in that? Zero. There is no difference.
Because
I reached out to Admiral Brown, he said it was a big difference.
Nah, it ain't no difference.
Tell me more.
See, people want to put this racial shade on stuff. Like people want to like, oh, well, it's different because he coming to him as a black man saying, but you're going to the same resource. It's the white person. You just come off as the house nigga. You're the whistleblower. Like what? That's the same thing. Like
so you that Steve Harvey in this situation.
It's the same. Yes, it's the same.
That man could have said.
Yes. The white
even
dude
though
is
Mo,
bold
let
enough
me challenge you. Let me challenge you just a little bit. Even though Steve Harvey is accomplished enough to know that if you do this, you will be more successful. This is not just a suggestion.
Okay.
This is me being in this business for 30 plus years and telling you what I've seen. All right, go.
Steve, I'm not saying he's wrong.
Okay.
In the information, in the intel he has based on the industry. I'm not saying he's wrong. What I'm telling you is this is the same thing. The white dude saying you can't now. The foundation and where you're coming from might be different, but I think it's all the same thing. It's to please the white man. It's no different to me. Like you want to get success, you want to get in these rooms, you cut off them black dreads, bro. Like that it's the same thing to please the white man. So for me, I always have issue with this because it's like, again, like we talked about in a previous episode, like, bro, you're not going to tell me to change something from a personal standpoint. Like you could tell me from a performance standpoint. Don't tell me what to change from a personal standpoint. Like never. Like I'm not cutting my hair. I'm not doing anything you ask. I don't care. If I don't get far enough and you're stopping me because of how my hair looks, then I don't want to rock with you. Like it's that simple. Oh, I can't play baseball here. Okay, cool. Like you're telling me because I have dreads, I can't pitch a ball crazy. I can't hit a home run. I'm not allowed to run the bases because my hair. Man, get out of here, dude. Like what you talking about, bro?
Let me ask you this. Yeah. I think this is good. This is gonna be a good conversation. Let me ask you this. Genuinely ask you this. What if hypothetically you and I were out kicking it? We're trying to make it to where we go in this podcast game, getting interviews, getting meetings and stuff. And what if I pull you to the side and I say, hey, Mo, you got to throw on like a 2-piece or something, bro. Like you got to pause, not 2-piece.
I know what you meant, but golly, that's crazy. That's
pull a
crazy.
Nigga to the side saying throw to the
Put on 2 pieces.
Fucking nuts. But no, what if I pull you to the side, right? And I'm like, hey, bro, and we've gotten deal money and, you know, we have the money from doing these podcasts. Hey, bro, take like 10,000-15,000 out of the podcast account, man. Just go buy some up your clothes and stuff, man. Dress like more to the room or something like that. Is that any different?
It is different.
Okay, tell me more.
Again, when we talk about my personnel, with like who I am, because it's who I am versus what I have. Like who I am is like, if let's say I got fake teeth, I got veneer teeth or something. Yeah. Telling me that's almost like pulling me to the side and say, hey, with all due respect, like, bro, you gotta take them dentures or them fake teeth out. Like that's a part of me. Like, are you like? I know it's funny, but for real, it's
saying
like,
that with the hair, right?
Yeah, with the hair. So it's like it's a part
of me. If a nigga
me.
telling you, hey man, your swag just ain't all the way together. I got a suggestion because I'm looking out for you.
Yeah.
To do this, you wouldn't take that the same way.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Like, cause I'd be like, okay, well, give me a little bit more. Like you say, ask another question. I'll give me a little more. Okay, check this out. They pull up the slides on the tablet. Like, this is it's found that this is work. It's not like, okay, I'll go for the look. I'll try it out.
Gotcha.
But don't tell me about what's on me. Like, if again, like I said, the teeth thing, or like if I don't know if I'm a muscular.
Hair is the best example. Yeah, hair is the best example.
It's the best example, but it's you just can't. You don't like every.
You can't be like, hey, bro, we'll get more deals if you had a fade versus having a high top with the like. That's wild to say.
To me,
whether you black or white.
Well, it's not wild to say. It's just a wild ask, I guess. Like, no, like I mean, what do you feel? Because I know we talked about it, and I asked yesterday, what about right now with you in that previous episode with your hairstyle now? They say, hey, Spike Lou, I see what you're doing. It's pretty clean, but we would prefer if you just go ahead and cut it all the way low.
Cut with the fade.
Yeah, low cut with the fade. Or no. Here's what it was. No, last time I said not your hair, but they say, hey, we like a really clean shaven man. Yeah, we say, hey, see, they say you can keep a mustache, but everything else, see, that's all.
And then like. It feels wrong for you to say like, nah, I'm good, and it feels powerful and prideful. But at what point, if we're having a real conversation, would it be detrimental to you? Like if it's a lot of money, like if it's life-changing money for your family, for you, if it's the key to getting to where you're looking to be, and all you have to do is cut your hair or cut your beard off, at what point are you just being stubborn though?
It ain't
like
stubborn.
If a nigga knock on your door tomorrow, Mo, and be like, bro, if you cut and have this fade, I'm gonna give you a contract for $2-3 million a year. Your whole life is about to change. I just need you to get a fade because we cannot do the wild top. No. Like, at what point are you looking at that and being like, I got to do what's best for my family, bro? Fuck this hair.
Again, bro, like when I worked at IHOP years ago, like I remember I had to I didn't have a beard.
Throw IHOP out though. I'm talking about life-changing opportunities and money.
I was trying to show you where I was versus where I am.
My bad. I'm sorry.
But where I was at the I'll wrap it up quick. Where I was at the IHOP days, I was in a desperate position. I need to do what I need to do, and I made a decision as far as a hair situation. Where I am today, there is no compromise. It's not stubborn to me because I stand where I stand. For me, it's like you can 2-3 million, because again, we talked about before, like, where does it stop? This is not the end. This is the start. If I cut my hair, what are you going to ask for after that? I can't do that. Like, no, you either respect my work or don't. Like, money, I told you, bro, like the money conversation always going to be the same for me. You're not going to move me off my rocker because you dangle money in my face. Pause if needed. But
we're not just talking about dangling money though, right?
Okay,
we're talking about life-changing opportunities. Like, and this is a good question for you, because I don't have any of these things. I don't have girl or kids or things. So would you feel a type of way if your wife were mad at you for you saying like, this just, I can't do this, and she looking at you like, bruh, like, I'm trying to be a housewife and I go to work no more. And they talking about giving us the type of money to do that. Like, you slick letting me down as my partner to be like, I'm holding on to my hair over this life-changing experience for our union.
That's a great question. that's a fire question.
What we do here.
That's a fire question, because I
know some married men listening right now.
Yeah,
like,
theoretically,
I don't want to hear her mouth for 30 more years talking about I could have been doing this versus what I'm doing now if you just cut your hair. Yeah, like, we know how that goes.
You're right. You're right. Now I'm gonna go theoretic here, because in real time, like, she gonna rock where I rock, because we're at that stage now where she understands. It's like, because if the shoe was on the other foot and they told you, hey, you know, you got the natural hair and that's fine, you know, and all that, but you know, we kind of prefer like a kind of a press straight down look.
Press it out.
It looks a little more professional for us. Like, and she would be like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm rocking the natural. I feel closer to my roots, or whatever her foundation of why she won't do it. I won't blink an eye, because I always believe if the product is there, if the work is there, this is the problem that the decisions that rappers make. If this person's offering you a deal, then obviously you have something to present. You have something that's worth paying for. So then if you have something worth paying for, then you're not going to be the only person. They're not going to be the only person coming to you for it. Somebody else will
So
say, "Oh, I'll take you with the dreads." So, but
my
people get
understanding,
desperate.
got you. So my understanding to your denial of it would be, if they're coming to me with this, I can stay the same and maybe take less money, do more work, work with someone else. I don't have to concede with that because I've built up enough cachet for them to come to me with this.
Yeah.
So somebody else got to be out there who ain't asking the same thing of me.
Absolutely.
Well, I feel like I'm putting myself on the line. That's your biggest thing.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Because
So I guess I'm just looking at it from if someone thought that this was their only chance. And that you spoke to that as far as desperation. Okay. Like a lot of niggas would do shit out of desperation and be mad at themselves forever. Hold that resentment against that girl because she forced them to do the shit that way. Like what you saying, we should have done this. But I guess that is a great way of thinking of it. Like you're saying, if someone is knocking at the door, then somebody else is at the sidewalk or at the mailbox. Let me at least go see what they got to say before I put all my eggs in this basket and do some shit that I don't want to do. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. You know what? I
ain't mad at that.
Here's the good thing about you.
That's optimistic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But here I'm gonna use you and Animal Brown for example. Y'all have been grinding for a decade, right?
Right.
Y'all starting to see some. I mean, y'all been seeing success over years, but y'all starting to get into new pockets and places. Y'all have had the opportunity to watch for a long time. You've watched the interviews, you've watched the promo, you've watched the deals, you've seen paperwork, you've had conversation, you've seen, you've had time to be able to understand that by the time people are knocking on my door and the work I put in for so long, I'm pretty confident because I've had time to become successful. I'm not an overnight success. So if somebody's asking, then somebody else is looking as well. So that's kind of the beauty in when a deal, and like if you make one hit record like the guy I was talking about and they offer you deals right away, no, you don't. That's not necessarily the move you want to make. But if you've had time to watch, no way you're going to come to me and say, yeah, but you need to cut your locks. No, because I know my value. I know
you got more leverage. Yeah, you got more leverage.
Exactly. So but if you're desperate, I mean, by any means, but I mean,
I think just
where does it stop?
That's a good question. Where does it stop? But I think one of the bigger conversations that need to be addressed out of this, one of the micro conversations out of this macro conversations is how desperate niggas feel.
I know.
Like I'm so desperate that I feel like that I have to jump through hoops, make these adjustments in order for people to fuck with me so I can get the things that I want to do. And then you end up not being happy. Yeah, because you feel like you sold your soul. With a lot of these rappers that you look at, a lot of entertainers look at it like I had to do all of this bullshit, and I ain't even really comfortable in myself for what I had to do to get here. Yeah, and I thought the money was gonna make this shit feel better, but it doesn't. Yeah, so that's probably the struggle that you have from a lot of people. Yeah, man, it was good. I figured that'd be a good talk, man.
I mean, but so are you on the same page with that though overall, or like you kind of like if somebody knocking on your door with the $2-3 million podcast deal and they're telling you like, hey, mustache only, like we're gonna have a camera crew and this and that, and we're looking for a certain kind of look. You and Animal Brown, we're gonna make you the ESPN. We're gonna make you the ESPN. We're gonna of hip hop, and we're gonna do the whole. We're gonna give you basically the elevated everyday struggle. And y'all they might say, hey, yo,
you just gotta cut your beard.
You just got to cut your beard. You got to do mustache only. We're looking for kind of a clean cut. Now you could do that. You can do your top of your hair is like how you want, and you can wear your graphic tees and stuff. But the beard thing, we like more of a clean cut. We're promoting skincare and this, whatever. Like, they got the whole set up for y'all. Like, like the Joe Budden joint. And
I wouldn't be against it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Okay. I wouldn't be against it. I like my beard, but I'm not dumb either. I don't have like 4 or 5 niggas knocking on my door offering me a couple $1 million. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
So you need a certain assessment of
like
value.
Like you said, if I have leverage, then no. Like if I've established myself and I have enough leverage to where nigga, I get one of these calls a day or a month. Well, nigga offering me $1 million to do this, that, and the third. I just need to figure out what works best for me. And if one nigga calling me and saying, hey, you got to cut your beard, and another nigga calling me and saying, hey, I'm offering you $500,000 less, those offers are going to be considered the same, right? Like But if it's one nigga, if it's one person, one company entity calling saying, hey, all you got to do is this, and this is the stepping stool that I'll need as Spike Lee to continue on and do what I need to do in this business, then I might have to take one for the team. But again, if it's a dough and it's 9-10 niggas at the dough and like there's different offers and one of them is this and one of them is that, then yeah, I have a lot more considering to do.
How long do you wait? That's probably the trickiest part that people probably face the most. Like they get that call, they get that opportunity, and they say, hey, we're going to give you a little time to make a decision, but you ain't got necessarily. You got leverage. Well, you got catalog. You got product, but you're not necessarily getting those knocks, and you haven't had a knock in years. And so that person come to you, but you don't agree to the terms fully, but they give you time to think about it. It's kind of like that's kind of the tricky part. Like, how long do you wait for?
When that establish your leverage, when that knock comes, it's now upon you as a person and being dedicated in doing what you're doing to use that. If this ain't the ideal deal for me, let me use this to start making the calls and start contacting the people to let them know I have this on the table, or that someone is paying this much attention to me, or that I have this to offer as leverage. What can you offer me? That's when it's on you. Like the deal that, like you said, at first not cool. Now it's on me to be the person that I say that I'm going to be, to use this as leverage to continue to get what I want from the situation.
Okay. Fair enough.
That was good shit, man. That was good shit. So, Mo, tell me, you listen for 3 weeks, you sit on the stands, you got to hear what another week in the books was like from the other stand of it, and then you came back with maturation and progression.
Yeah.
How did you get here? What'd you want to hit on specifically? And let's get into it.
Well, y'all that like really rock with us. I know a lot of y'all love. I feel like people really like like we talked about right before the 3-week hiatus. Like I feel like people really like the breaking the fourth wall moments with me and you, where we kind of get personal. And this is another one of those moments. Shouts out to Rich. We finally had a conversation with the in-laws. Over the 3-week time.
This is way back from when you asked.
Yeah.
And we talked about it on here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When Dan was on that episode.
Right.
And
then, you're saying shout out to Rich because he said go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Even though it was always set in stone. It was not like off the table. It was already kind of set in stone when he said it, but
we talked and Rich was like, go ahead, man. Like you
he really was saying again, like, man, if you got it, you know what I mean? Like, in respect to Rich and
to Rich, man. Rich a dope brother, man. I'm
you
really
know Rich
glad that I was able to meet you two guys, man.
I ain't gonna hold you because Rich is one of them dudes where it's like he's just one of them dudes like you wanna do so much work with, like, because he's one of those. He's a great collaborator. Like he's you gotta. He's like, bro, I want to keep creating projects with you because I like doing business with you. So he's just one of them people like you want to keep creating projects and. Yeah, we'll work with him. Like, okay, what can we do together? Because, but anyway, shouts out to Rich, man.
He has that presence. Yeah, he got a presence like that.
Yeah,
like,
he do.
What can we do together to make sure that, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's why, I'm hoping we can work out this big plan that I have an idea for, but we'll see about it. But I'm ready.
Does that include me or is that not?
No, this big umbrella. This guy over here. Look at him trying to play humble, but he top 5 though. See, look at him.
You got to be able to do both, man.
This guy over here top 5, but he trying to play like
Name of the group chat that I'm in. They changed the name of the group chat that I'm in. It's been a running joke all week. It's 2 things can be true.
That's the name of the chat.
That's the name of the chat, because niggas can never agree on shit, and we'll argue about it forever. And then the ultimate consummation of it was 2 things can be true.
Is that the new at the end of the day? Like, is that the new version?
Yeah. At the end of the day, 2 things. Actually, it's the extension of that.
Oh, it's the extension.
2 things can be true.
All right.
Things can be true.
That's respectable. But I wasn't looking forward to this phone call, this FaceTime. We hadn't really spoke. When we went to Indy for a visit, she went to go see him. Of course, I've been dolo. I ain't been over there. I ain't really had no conversation since everything had transpired. And so since we've been back in Florida and all that, it's been set up for a little bit like, okay, let's have this conversation and have a meeting, family meeting and all that. And So we have this family meeting on FaceTime. I didn't really agree to do the FaceTime. I didn't want to do it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it at all. But, you know, it was the closest thing to being in person that we had at the moment. So I had to just get with it. We get on there.
Wait, can we take a step back before you get further?
Absolutely.
Want to clear some stuff up for people.
Okay.
Had this been a pending conversation that you had been waiting to have? Like, why was it necessary? Like, why was the FaceTime scheduled? What happened to where now y'all are going to talk as a family?
I had been out the loop.
If you don't mind sharing. Like,
yeah, I don't mind. We
like, if you like, well, that ain't a part of it, Lou, we can move on from it. Like, it's cool.
No, it's all good. I don't mind sharing because I'm not going to bring any parties down in this regard, you know. And if they do feel that way, then that's, you know, those are your feelings. These are mine. So
that's
you like that. You like that?
That's the ultimate nigga. Like, man, fuck it. If you feel the type of way, nigga, that's on you. Not
but
me.
that's your feelings. Though. Like you can have yours. Those are yours for you to keep. Do what you want with yours. But these are my feelings. So my wife has been building momentum. She had built momentum, enough momentum, and like she had got back to like her and dad. They laughing at, you know, we're back at it, having, you know, well, they're back at it doing that, but like, you know, of course, stepmom not quite the same, which is going to tie into where I got the theme of this episode, maturation and progression. So there's been build up momentum, but it was always still kind of like you are right with things, but you're still kind of not really there yet. Actually, you're a lot not there, and we find out more. So how I get into the loop, how we even have the meeting is when we went down there and she went to go see everybody, the energy was weird for her. And so she just decided to, you know, exit on out of there. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to cut out. It's good seeing y'all and stuff. And I think they realized like the energy was weird. So You
didn't go?
No, I ain't been there in the grip.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why. When we get,
so your wife traveled to go see her family, and you didn't
like, well, we went to Indy together, but I was with my peoples. So she just go over there for a second. She coming back.
Did she come see your people?
Yeah, like we stayed with my sister.
She ain't go see her people.
No, it's been like that for a grip. Like because like I said, the last time that I seen them was like when they was snapping on me and going crazy after my daughter's performance, and she's crying in the car because she didn't understand what was going on. And so I knew then, I said, yep, that's it.
You knew that was the last straw for you.
For me, it definitely was, but
disrespect to your daughter?
Not disrespect, but the lack of acknowledgement of it. I'll get there. Let me just try to fast forward up because I don't want to talk forever. No, you good. So for those that are new listeners, go back to the episode with Dan if y'all are not caught up on it. Not the recent one with Spike and Dan, but the one before that. Y'all actually was called 20s. Yeah, I think that was the 20s episode. Go back to that one if y'all want a little more context to like the whole scenario, how everything went. But anyway, so it was always on the table, like, let's have this family meeting or whatever, because I know he had kind of explained that he wanted things to get back to regular. He, you know, everything going on him with his health, some serious health. And of course she has some things. So we get there, you know, we get on the FaceTime, we have the conversation, and the stepmom just like every time we would like actually ask questions, we would explain the answer. And then there was another question, we explain the answer, and then go back to, but I just don't understand. And so every time we were explaining, trying to provide context, it was like, I just don't understand. Well, we're sorry. And then when we get past the sorry, then it's like this is a person. And when we explain where we were coming from, and then we try to looking for some kind of empathy, it's you one up us. So, that don't make no sense. Cause even when we was, oh, wow. So dang. So not only do what we say don't mean anything, you don't really care to hear what we're saying. Sorry is not good enough. And you're still stuck where we were 2 years ago at this point. So I ended up kind of taking lead on the whole thing and just saying, hey, look.
On the Zoom.
I like, look, respectfully, like, no, it doesn't matter what we can say. It's not going to change anything as far as what happened. All I can tell you is we was in a space. We wasn't in a good space, and we really probably wasn't ready for that living arrangement. And y'all got the bad end of the stick going through a lot of stuff y'all went through We truly are sorry. We never meant to be a part of the problem. We wanted to be a part of the solution, but we sorry that we were also part of the problem. We truly sorry. And, you know, we just, I mean, that's it. Like, we're truly sorry. And it ain't no fake, ain't no front. Like, because y'all deserved better than that. And we sorry for that.
Mm-hmm.
Week or so goes later, and they get back in contact, just my wife and her. And basically, she was going to take a different approach originally, but she decided not to. And she just kind of was like trying to encourage, like I think therapy is necessary for everybody, kind of like you and me and everybody. I've done it before. I think it'd be something good for you. The reply from the stepmother, 8-page blast.
Well, your wife recommended therapy to her?
Yes.
And then she replied with an
8-page blast of like a history of things you've done. Basically, of 8-page. And so that's the last speaking of everything.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If someone that you had a disagreement with told you or recommended that you should go to therapy, how would you feel about
it? I mean, I would probably reply.
It would trigger you. It would trigger you.
Not no.
You may not send an 8-page record. Like, I ain't talking about that. I'm saying
I'm not even saying they don't. I understand the trigger.
The genuine emotion. You get how that could trigger someone, right?
I definitely get how it can trigger someone.
Gotcha. I don't want to get too personal about what the disagreement was about, but it sounds like that they think we're talking about a stepdad and we're talking about a dad and a stepmom, right?
Yes.
So it sounds like that they think that you guys got over it on them in some sort of way and they're not able to get by that. And you guys are apologizing. You're saying, hey, this wasn't how we intended it to happen. Mm-hmm. It did happen this way. We're sorry about it. It won't happen again, and we want to move forward from here. And they're still harping on the fact that it happened versus we moved past it, right?
Yes. And I'll give you just a small little context I can kind of help for the listeners for you. They were going through a hard situation. They had some house troubles. They were moving back and forth between places, and we offered our home to them. They didn't really have nowhere to go, honestly. They wasn't hurting financially, but it made more sense from a financial standpoint. Offering that offer to them, me and my wife were in a tough time. We were close to divorce. I mean, at least the conversation was becoming a real thing. We wasn't on the same page. We were just, pandemic is right before pandemic. So it was a lot of stuff going on, and we strongly were having I went and looked at the place. Like, that's how real it was. And so that spirit and that energy was what we opened our doors. They moved into. And that was a part of what the FaceTime was. We brought that back context, but when we brought it, it was immediate. Like, me and him, we went through, and it just got overlooked immediately. And it's not that we're trying to excuse anything. We're just trying to maybe have an understanding. Don't make it right. That's the misconception. So that part of it, I just wanted to say that's where we were for them entering. And then we were in a house that wasn't really fit for that size family.
For grown people.
Yeah, like it was two grown.
How it's different when it's two grown people and children.
Yeah, it was 3 of us, but then it was 5 of them, and they're tall, like all tall, like tall. Like
5?
giants.
What do you mean 5? Like kids too?
Yeah, so like
So 2 families living together.
2 families living together.
And
3 of us, 5 of them.
The experience wasn't like y'all thought it would be.
No, we had a 2-bed. Really like a 2.5 bed. Like it was like that.
You guys were open enough to open up your home to them, and the experience just was bad. Is that, like, am I following correctly?
The experience was bad. There was just a lot of discomfort as far as, like, we like our house a certain way. You got
to go into why. Like,
it was just a different. Like, the experience was bad. Like, the experience was bad. Like,
and has that been the source of the contention in the relationship between you, like what we spoke about, the experience of them living with y'all?
Yes, that's all of this is built on that. For those, I think it was maybe 3, maybe 4 months.
And now we on Zoom trying to reconcile the relationship.
We tried to reconcile then. There was a moment.
I'm saying, what are we on Zoom doing though? Why are we rekindling these emotions, having this conversation?
Because it was still held. Because when we tried to the first time,
you still felt like they was looking at y'all like,
oh yeah, absolutely,
part of my friendship, but they had y'all fucked up.
We had them that way, basically. Like they still was like, okay,
they
so
living with y'all though.
Okay, see, now you sound like my parents. See, this is a part of like, this is a part of the issue for us.
Okay.
It's like, okay, respectfully, understand, like, okay, we might not have the right energy. Maybe we wasn't all smiles all the time. We wasn't feeling it. We really didn't like it, really, to be honest. You know what I mean? But we were trying to do the right thing.
Which is understandable, though.
Yeah.
Like, you got somebody living in your space. Yeah. Grown people. Right.
But we get that comparison with y'all live with us and it was different. But it's like, y'all house.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Y'all live with them too.
Yeah, but then they lived with us before that. Well, they broke off into pieces. So they lived with us before, moved out. We moved
y'all
in
live
with them.
Well, excuse me. They live with
They lived with us twice. We lived with them once.
Okay. And throughout those experiences, you're saying that y'all experience was just as bad as theirs was, which is why you don't see why they judging you like they are. Our
experience wasn't as bad as it was with them. But so it was
admitting that the experience is not the same. So that's probably the standard that they holding y'all to, right?
Yep.
Like
that's exactly.
Y'all came to our house. We at least had this here for y'all.
Yeah.
And now we come to y'all house and it ain't that type of way.
Yep.
And now they judging you off of that.
Yep.
And the judgment has remained that way in since.
Yep.
Continuously moving forward. Okay, I got you. Okay, I'm caught up now. All right.
Okay.
All right, I'm
well, you following really well. You're following really well.
I'm really good at comprehension. I'm really good at that. I do logic puzzles. So I think where I'm wondering is how maturation and progression played into this, because it sounds like at the end of the Zoom that they still had you fucked up and y'all still had them fucked up. So it wasn't really a lot of, okay, I understand where you're coming from. It wasn't a lot of rich moments. Okay. And what we talked about with the Bengals situation, it sounded like a lot of, y'all don't get me, I don't get y'all, let's sever the ties and walk our separate ways. So fill me in from there.
So the way it really ended, he's on board in regards to like.
This is the stepdad, the dad, the real dad.
Yeah, the real dad. He's on board. Like at the end of it, he was just like, he felt like basically like because he's a man, so he received the apology. He was just like, I just wanted it to be acknowledged that y'all did those things. Like I wanted it to be acknowledged that y'all did those things.
It's funny that you said he's a man, because I feel like in my head before you said it, I said, this sounds like some woman stuff.
Yep. Yeah,
like
it is.
Women wasn't feeling good about this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because it's all about the details. Like, it's all about, technicalities.
It sound like, though. It sounds like some woman stuff, not like nuts.
For it to stretch this long is definitely that.
Yeah. It don't sound like something that men can't get through. Like, we more like, man, okay, whatever, bro. You trying, I'm trying. Let's figure it the fuck out. I don't want to fight you. You ain't trying to fight me on it. So let's figure it out moving forward. But women need more detail. They need more like, nah,
yeah, bro.
I want to hammer this out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all that. So
I'm following.
It ended kind of like that. Like I said, I just took control because she kept going on and on and over about the same things again, just like the first meeting. So I just kind of, like I said, to say, look, there's nothing we can say, like I just said before. But then he finished it by saying like, hey, he received it, and he said, hopefully things can go back the way they was, or maybe they won't, but it's just good to know this thing. So he said like he's on the neutral. He's cool with it. I was all right with it. I mean, I prayed before, but I didn't really pray for anything as far as a benefit for me. I more so prayed for like closure for them, and more so like the relationship for my wife. So it ended, and I knew still that I talked about that night of them snapping on me in front of my daughter, and it still just kind of got swept under the rug. Like, oh, well, we was in our right because we still felt some type of way. So you had it coming almost. They didn't say that, but that's the way I processed it. And so it's just a lot of detail. It's just a million details that we don't have enough airtime for. But like, ultimately, where we at this point is for me, I'll tell you where I am, where she is, and I can tell you where I think they are. And then we can get into like this part. But like where I am is, I thank y'all for everything that y'all have done in my life. I appreciate you, but I can't move forward in a one-sided relationship where it's only
One-sided
what
relationship.
yes, and it's only what you say because you're the parent, you're the adult, and then when we say things, oh, we're wrong, or when we say things, it's not valid, or when we say things, well, it don't matter because we meant well. So that is kind of it's a one-sided thing for me, and I won't go back to that unless we respect it as equals, because that's where we at now. We grown, so I mean, you always have a little bit more because you're the parent and the OGs. But
I was just about to ask you that.
but it won't.
How much grace do you give old people though?
I'll give them a lot of grace. It's gonna always be that there, but
Like,
it won't be a
when you're
one-sided work.
talking, real quick though,
Yeah.
before we move past that, when you're talking to your mom, how much grace do you give her on like it's just different? It's just a different generation.
I mean, I always give grace in that regard. Like I definitely give grace, but I'm
these two people.
Yeah.
Are you less likely to give grace because y'all had the disagreement?
I
Can you
probably
understand where the disconnect is? Y'all being a younger generation of couples and them being an older generation.
I'm less likely because the lack of acknowledgement.
You don't think they're trying to understand y'all?
No, there wasn't.
Y'all are trying to understand them.
Yeah, we understand them. That's how it brought us to let's apologize again.
Okay.
Like we already did before, but it was missed because of all the commotion. So let's do it again. But it's definitely like you're not trying to see what sorry. You're mad that you're almost mad that we said sorry. You know what I mean? You're more like, I want you to be punished. I want you to. So I said all that. That's how it brought me to maturation progression, because I think that when you're in a position where you're over somebody, people look up towards you, not down, but up towards you. Like you're the OG, you're the elder statesman, you're the veteran in a situation. I think that you got to handle things differently. So I wanted to ask you, I know me and you talked about, we both always been pretty much mature for our age, but I want to ask you, when did it click for you to put it in the next gear of like maturity as an adult? There's that young, I think I know some things, I'm going home, I'm at my great grandparents, all that. But when did it kick in that next gear where it's like, damn, okay, I'm grown. I gotta actually start being mature. I can't be this way with certain ladies. I can't be a certain way with the homies. I can't be a certain way at the job. When it clicked that next level of maturity, when can you think of a scenario, situation where you knew, all right, I gotta.
Absolutely. It's 100% clear too. I think that comes with responsibility. And it's going to piggyback off the off the conversation that Rich and I had last week about manhood. Responsibility and having to do certain things, that's going to make you, to the question that you asked, like at 21 years old, I had my first like home, like not an apartment. Like I didn't move out of my mom's house and go to I had a home, like where ain't no maintenance, man. You got to take care a home. My mom was buying a home. She had just met her husband and she was living with him. So she's like, here's the home. You're going to pay the mortgage. You're going to pay the electric bill. You're going to pay the water bill. Make sure you keep a job and make sure that you can pay these bills as they come in. Because I just bought a house. I'm not going to be living in it and you can have it. That's a blessing, right? It's cool. But at 21, you really don't understand that responsibility. So having to understand that responsibility at 21, that was the first time I felt like what you're talking about.
You took over your mom's home?
Absolutely. She met her husband. My mom and her long-term boyfriend broke up at maybe when I was finishing high school. She had been dating him for the whole time that I had been in school, maybe, I want to say 12, 13 years. And then they broke up. She met like her husband that she's been married to now for 20 years. And in the process of meeting him, he was well off. He had a lot of, I talked about him before on here. He got restaurants and corner stores and all these different type of things. So in meeting him, she lived with him, right? So like she had just bought a home because she had broke up with her long-term boyfriend, but also she had moved in with her new boyfriend who was rich, but she had just bought a home too. And it wasn't rich in the sense of, oh, baby, I'll take care of your son that lives in your home somewhere. It was like, okay, well, I just bought this house because me and my ex broke up. Now I need someone to take care of it because I'm living with my husband now. So here's the mortgage. Here's the electric bill. Here's the water bill. Here's the cable. You figure the shit out on your own. Here are these things that you need to be able to do at 21 years old. So responsibility. Also moving here to Atlanta, leaving that situation and being like, well, I could be cool here for the rest of my life and have a home that I didn't have to go through and buy, or I could go to Atlanta and figure out something totally new because I think it'll be dope for podcasting and what I'm doing in videography. But the responsibility is how do you make this work? How do you find a job? How do you find living situations? How do you find friends? How do you find people? All of those responsibilities made me grow up. It made me start like to the things of what you're saying. Like I had to start looking at shit differently. I couldn't just be like, I'm gonna play it how it comes. I can be nonchalant, I cannot give a fuck, and I'll figure it out. Got my mom's home here. Like I got to figure it out in the sense of like, no, these are your responsibilities now. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. But I feel like the move is like there's a lot of steps of maturity before the move, though.
In what sense?
Because there's I think when you start to really gain maturation, I think that there's a confidence that goes into it because there's a level of confidence that required for you to feel comfortable enough and maturity to be able to say, hey, I can handle myself as a grown man. I'm good without the resources.
I was fucking scared. I was terrified, but I wanted to do something new.
But you knew you had the maturity to say, I don't know how everything's going to land, but I know I can take care of myself. I know I'm going to go to work. I know I'm going to, wherever I stay, I'm going to take care of my, so that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's why I said the first notch into like maturity. And then that's like, okay, there's been steps building up to, cause if you was even immature, like there's just, I mean, we see black men all the time. Like I listen to a podcast today talking about baby boy and like the dissertation for like this being like a common theme.
I hate that movie,
boy, but it's so real though. It's so real. But anyway, I mean, it's a lot of black men like that. Like, but
it is, but
I know
it's kind of unrealistic too. Man.
Okay, we go have
the reason, we'll have another
because I love to hear what you say.
Too good, yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
All right,
this conversation is too good for us to talk about that.
Okay, you're right. Okay, yeah, I think
you're saying that maturation from, hey, you're in your mom's house and you got to pay the mortgage, you got to pay the electric bill, and making the decision to be like, well, no, I'm moving to Atlanta.
I think there's a level up there. I don't think it's the same level. I think you keep growing in maturation, but I think right there, I think there's a different level from like, I'm gonna take this crib to like, I'm gonna move into a whole nother crib or somewhere on a whole nother state with no real resources. You know what I mean? To say I'm mature enough to be grown, be adult, not lean on mama, not lean on, you know what I mean? Like there's another level there where, the maturity is it's a lot different. You know what I mean?
You know what? There is a moment, and I'm not even sure my mom knows this or her husband knows this, but she said something to me like kind of joke. I don't even know if I've talked about it on here. Kind of jokingly, not really being serious and challenging me, but just kind of like, I want you to know what people say. And she said to me one day, she said, this is before he got to know me, and I don't really hold it against him because it's going to sound crazy. But the guy she was dating and her husband now, she said, your son is probably going to end up living right there in your home, taking care of your house for the rest of his life because it was such a good setup for him. She said that to me before I moved to Atlanta. And quietly, that's been one of the fueling factors to the things and what I do to what I do. because again, it wasn't. He's my mom always dated older dudes, so he's older than her.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't saying it necessarily in a sense of disrespect, but I took it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I took it in the sense of I thought that I had it easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just ride that out until the death.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to be cool. That was one of the main things that I heard, because when I was leaving to go to Atlanta, my mom asked me not to go. I'm an only son. She don't got other kids that like ain't none of that. She was like, you don't have to do this.
Wow.
And one of the fueling factors was her telling me that he said that I would probably be right there in that house paying that mortgage, and just that would be it, because it's so easy.
In the same conversation, or like the timeline's different?
No, these different. This different timelines.
Okay.
Like I'm so fucked up in the head. Like, I hold on to shit and listen to shit over and over. The motherfucker.
Oh, that's a perfect conversation then for you.
Yeah. This wasn't something that like all in the same conversation. This was just something that I heard in passing of her saying to me almost jokingly, but me being offended by it just because of the personality that I have of being Spike Lee. Like, he got me fucked up. There's no way that the life that I plan to live is, I'm gonna be here and just accept what I've been given, and like I got a good deal out of it, and you can just live in your mom's house and pay these bills for the rest of your life and you'll be cool. That wasn't what I saw myself as. But it bothered me so much that another person saw me like that, because I had always considered myself as someone who work hard, someone who do this, do that, and the third. So you're gonna look at me and be like, oh, he can do big things. So for someone who was successful to look at me and be like, oh, well, I only see this, that struck a fire under me. Like, nah, you got me. You have me fucked up, like we were talking about earlier. So a part of the reason of leaving and being like, nah, I gotta go do this on my own. I gotta go find my own job, go to a place where I don't have any friends, go to a place where I gotta figure it out on my own off a dream that I have with On Deck TV and try to figure it out. That's what I want to be remembered for, and not a nigga who was given something and just had to maintain it to take care of.
And plus, you worked at one of his spots too, didn't you?
Yeah, I worked at his store and his restaurant. He got a store, a restaurant.
So was that all?
And that was part of that fueled it too.
Okay, because I was about to say that would all be in there. Yeah,
absolutely. Because I knew working at both of those spots for him that I was cold at what I did. Like, working at that store, where it was in the environment. If I were to take you there when we meet up, if we were to go to Nashville and I would take you to that store and you'd be like, nah, I don't believe you worked here, bro. Like, it's that hood of a spot. But I held it down. Like, people came in there, they fucked with me. I had prior relationships, of course, but just because of just being outside and doing what I have done.
Yeah.
That was a part of it. And also just having that knowledge that most people don't have, that ain't grew up in those environments. Like, he didn't understand some of the shit that I was able to get off in that store. Or like how you know what he was talking about, or how you know what he was, just small shit. And it come from just being outside and just being the person that I was. But again, you're right. That was a great question to ask. Working for him in those different spots also was a thing that triggered a thing in it for me. It was like, no, you know what? I am going to go here. I am going to do this, and I am going to work hard. I am going to work to make sure that when people speak of me or mention my name, that they know it for that. Not any other bullshit.
Was the Atlanta move already in the works before this information?
Nope. It was random. It was random. It was AB. It was AB calling me and being like, bro, I moved to Atlanta with these random ass niggas. We have an apartment. But the only thing that made the Atlanta move cohesive was Animal Brown and I had been doing On Deck TV. Okay. Like, we had been recording stuff. We had been getting artists to come to the studio. We had been working on a plan to how can we make this pop from Nashville. And then he up and moved because he lost his job and he moved to Atlanta with two other niggas who were in music and he was cool with. I really wasn't that cool with.
Right. And
he was down there 2 weeks. And then again, that conversation about being here and living in your home, that happened a long time ago. But it just so happened that I had the opportunity where I wasn't working anywhere where I needed to have a commitment to. And within the 2 weeks of AB moving down there, he called me and I was like, man, you know what? I'm coming. I'm moving down there too, bro. If them niggas that you live with will have me, I'm gonna bring my own couch. I'm gonna bring my own shit, and like I live with y'all till I find somewhere to live and work. And they said cool, and I moved down there.
You know, there's I look at that situation. I see a mature aspect of I could have went back at this dude for that information.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know what I mean? I could have, I could have, you know what I mean? I could have pulled up on a radio guy. Words of Charlemagne. Like,
now, you know what the craziest thing is, though?
Yeah.
Then at that age, I did feel like that, but now at my older age, I don't. Yeah. Because I get it now. He wasn't saying that as a slight.
No.
I'm just giving you what I think is going to happen is my husband, a husband talking to his wife.
Yeah.
She just so happened to tell me, and it pissed me off. It wasn't intended to be that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But you see how at that age, how if you let it brew and it's undealt with, kind of like the situation I spoke about, look at all the angles you could take on that. Like you could be like, wait, where do you get the audacity talking about me like that? Wait a minute. Yep. You're the same dude talking to me, and I've been running your stores. You could take how many angles you could take of that information. But the mature aspect is like, no, I'm going to use it as fuel. And you may not have been thinking that at that time, like as far as I'm being mature about it, but that was a mature move instead of I'm going to pull up and confront you at that time because you felt like that's worth confronting. Now you look at it now, it's like, nah, it wasn't even nothing like that. But that speaks to everything that I'm talking about as far as like just giving things more weight than it needs, bro. Anyway, I keep it moving, but
no, don't keep it moving. Go into that. What you mean when you say that? Giving things more weight than it needs, because this is good.
It's because it's
editing, so you got to cut all this shit out.
That's funny. He said, "I'm on your time, bro.
I'm on your time, bro."
Nah, but it's like just like time can be a blessing, and it can be it can be an advantage and a disadvantage, because time can work in the favor of healing. You can heal from things given it time. You know, they say time heals all wounds. But it also can be a disadvantage because the weight level that you give situations that are unresolved. A mature thing is to handle the situation relatively sooner than later. The longer you give it, the more weight it has. And now it becomes this bigger thing, and you forget the foundation of how small it is, which is kind of like the situation. If we look at the situation from a bird's eye view, for men to look at this when they had time, it's this. You didn't have nowhere to go. You lived with us. We were trying to do the right thing, but we wasn't the most cordial or comfortable people to live with. Y'all didn't have a good experience there, and so it didn't work out. But we did try to make it right and apologize for y'all experience there. That's the general. But then you get into the details, and the details start to become heavier because of time, of letting it linger instead of dealing with it on the spot, being mature on it. So it just, I don't know, just some things like, I don't know, like for me, time has healed my wounds, but time for her hasn't. It's done the opposite. It made it heavier. So I don't know.
That's the thing that we've spoken about on this podcast before, the difference between men and women.
Yeah.
The reason that we have this conversation amongst ourselves as men is because we're more logical than we are emotional.
Yeah.
And over time, what happens is logic starts to creep in, not emotion. Like emotion is removed over time, especially for us.
Yeah.
But for a woman who was feeling emotional about that in the very beginning, like she never gonna let go of that emotion. But for us, and my thing in your situation and my situation is I continue to think about it. And me continuing to think about it gave me the logic I needed to be able to process it and be like, you know what? This wasn't a bad thing. Because the relationship between my mom's husband and me now is great.
Yeah.
Like I'm asking him, hey, how do you make money? I mean, he's a millionaire a couple times over.
Yeah.
And I'm able to ask him and have conversation with him without him looking at me and looking at looking at me and seeing that same dude that he thought was going to be in that house that his mom bought for him however 20 years ago. Now, because of logic and us being men in the situation, he's seen like, well, damn, I thought this one thing about him. I'm having conversations with him now. He's well off. Like he's doing the things that he needs to be able to do. And I had him fucked up. So when he asked me a question now, logically as a man, I want to share that information with him because I know that you have what it takes to be successful. Because I thought this one thing about you.
One thing.
However, you're continuing to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
And I ain't a nigga that get proven wrong a lot because I made a lot of smart business decisions. I made a lot of smart things to do, however it may be, to be successful in my career. However, you're a person, and one of the perfect things that you said about this, I didn't need to confront him. It wasn't a him thing. It was a me thing. You feel this way about me and I feel like it's wrong. So you know what? I ain't got to pull up on you. I ain't got to ask you about it. I got to change it in my house. Or if I feel like I'm the nigga that need to change it and can change it. And now when I'm having conversations with you 20 years later, you sharing stock investment tips and you're sharing, oh, well, this is how I make money doing this. And you can do this, that, and the third to make money. Conversations that you never thought that you would have because you underestimated me. Now I'm pulling up 20 years later and you like, God damn, I'm surprised. Here's some information to where I can make you even better because I had you so fucked up in the beginning. Same thing with you. You're saying that your wife bringing you back to these conversations, but you're over it.
Well, not her. The other her,
the others. But you as a man, you've logically gotten over it.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it now like, okay, now what type of conversations can we have for me to benefit from this? The reason that you saw that shit on the Zoom is being a waste of time because y'all are not telling me nothing new. Y'all just going over old shit that you're mad at me about.
Yeah.
All right, we got that out of the way. I may have made a mistake as a man. I'm sorry. We all fall short sometimes.
Yeah.
What are we doing now in this relationship for you to be able to fuck with me and me be able to fuck with you and us make each other better?
Yep.
That's the thing that you got to do. And that's piggybacking off of manhood, going into maturation and progression. That's a part of it. How do you make people receive you in the sense of like, nah, I got him fucked up?
Yeah. Let me ask this, man. Like what do you do? Like when you had relationships, might be a homeboy, homegirl, family member, like the trajectory y'all was on was like, y'all was, like, man, when we was young, like, yo, I'm gonna do this when I get older. Or what, even if you don't necessarily know what you're gonna get older, but you're gonna be about something. You're not gonna always be in clowning around all the time. Y'all, you know when you got close people like more. Right.
You want
what do you do when you come back to Tennessee? You know what I mean? Like maybe not now so much because it's different, but like back then when you maybe first moved to Atlanta or like you coming back to Tennessee and like some people that were saying they were going to be doing some things or doing this, they didn't do that. As a matter of fact, not only did they not do that, like them niggas, they didn't even really change. And these are people that you have real relationships with. Where do you go from there? Do you?
I work so hard that they're not even comfortable hitting me up. I work so hard that they're not even comfortable in the sense of I'm in the same space. I'm gonna hit Lou up and see what he got going on when he come into town, knowing that I'm in the same space that I was in the last time. Like it's very few people that I deal with when I even go back to my hometown. And those people that I do deal with are like we're friends, like best of friends, 20, 30 years now. And they don't hit me up on bullshit. Because again, we've talked about it here. I'm with my family the most of the time that I'm there.
Same.
The other place that I'm at the most, and I ain't got the hat on today. I wish I had it on. It would be perfect. It was the makeshift. Was the makeshift tequila bar. And my homeboy TK, he didn't have one doubt in hitting me up because again, he built that shit. Like him and his homeboy were in there building tables and bars and doing all the handyman stuff themselves and being able to say, man, I worked hard at this, so I'm able to present this to you. I ain't been doing this bullshit for the last 10 years. I ain't been doing that. I've been working hard at something that I know that I can make pop, because all of them see me doing my podcast shit. They ain't never seen me stop doing that in the last 10 years. So when niggas hit, like my best friend for 30 years hit me up today and we hardly ever talk. And the reason that we hardly ever talk because we have different interests in life. But he hit me up today. He was like, bro, I got an idea for a podcast. It would be great to do this. My friends know when they hit me up, it need to be about stuff like that. Progression shit. It can't be about, man, have you seen this car? Or have you seen this, whatever it is, bullshit that we used to frivolously talk about in our earlier ages. We don't talk about that no more. Like even with Dro, he hits me up again, friend of the show. Like I asked him,
absolutely,
as he was hitting me up and telling me like how much he appreciated Another Week in the Books. My first question to him was, I know he has a clothing brand and things that he's trying to push off. What can I do to help you out? And he was like, it really ain't nothing that you could do to help me out, but here's the mission behind it. Here's what I want to prove. Here's what it's about. Here's why I started it. And I'm like, cool, well, that helps me. Now I can talk about it. I can let people know. But those are the things that all of my long-term friends, they know that I'm on that. So either they won't call me, or when they do call me, it's about those things. It's not about like shit that we would have talked about 20 years ago. It's not about Madden. It's not about cars. It's not about clothes. It's about like, I've seen you leave here. Like you left us to go do some shit that you felt like that you could do and you could be successful at. And I see you doing that. I've seen you doing that for the last 10 years. I also want to share in that intensity with you. So here's something that I've been working on. Like all of my friends that hit me up, they hit me up on stuff like that. Even with Derb. Like Derb and I are cool. We go play golf and all of those things. He listened to the On Deck TV podcast and knew for a long time. Like he tried for a couple of times to be like, well, I got a podcast idea about this, that, and the third. I'm like, bro, it's cool. Whatever podcast idea that you have, I'll help you with it, but you just have to be serious about it. Because you've seen me working over the last decade. You know what I'm about. Like, you know that I'm serious about the things that I do. That's one of the things that I appreciated about you and our relationship. Like you came into this serious. Hey, Spike Lou, here's what you like this. I see the opportunity. What about this? And then I hit you with, okay, well, yeah, we can get there, but what do you think about this? And you were receptive to it. It didn't have to be your way. It didn't have to be one thing. You were like, okay, well, I got the attention of this nigga. He got the platform. He's willing to do this with me. If he says that we need to do this first, then I'm willing to do it. Those are the type of friends, or those are the type of things that all of the people in my life hit me up about. It ain't. I very rarely have frivolous conversations about, hey man, what are you doing? The weather is this, that, and the third. Like everyone that hits me up that I talk to on a day-to-day basis, we're talking about business. We're talking about how to make each other better. We're talking about how to be that person where I can depend on, where like, even if shit don't go great or how I expose it to, or excuse me, how I expected it to, it's going to go in the sense of I've been grinding, working, trying to make it what I needed it to be.
Is there room for things that are not business?
Yeah, absolutely. It sometimes get frustrating though. Like I do like talking to people about stuff that's not business, and I appreciate it, but sometimes people feel intimidated because I do seem so focused on that they don't want to hit me up about it. Like the only person really that
you don't think that's a problem?
Yeah, I do. Because it makes me feel like I'm working all the time.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like people can't all the time just like relax.
Because I feel like you got a lot to offer. Like the more we talk, I'm like, I bet Spike will be like we've laughed about some goofy stuff about having fun and like stuff like, I'm like, I bet Spike is a lot more cool on like.
Yeah, they get the misconception of me that I'm not as cool as I am because I am so business centric. But no, like I love like just random like the memes and oh man, you remember this? Like all of that shit is still cool with me. I love all of that shit still. But again, it's probably almost overcompensating for myself and where I want to be, what I want to do, that it seems that I'm so centered on those things. But no, like I love like you me and Rich.
Yeah,
kick the
shit. And that's why I was so happy to see you sending those things. I'm like, this is dope from Spike.
I love that.
Cause I
Absolutely.
know Rich, me and Rich will send something but like that's dope seeing that from you. I'm like, and again, I know you have more, I know you have humor, I know all these things, but it's your time usage that I'm looking at. And so I'm looking at how Spike Lee uses his time, and I'm like, he's probably not gonna use his time for something that's goofy, funny, clever. Like
No,
it's
I
gotta,
like that though. That's what I'm
so
saying.
that's cool to
That's
me.
the misconception. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the misconception a lot of people get because I am so serious and don't know how to let my guard down that much. People think that all that he wants to do or talk about is that like, nah, that's the total opposite.
Yeah.
I love people that know how to mix the two.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why this whole thing works.
Absolutely. I tell you what I appreciate most about you, Mo, and the reason that it works, and this is a great podcast for the people to listen to it. You're not afraid to ask questions. Like you're not afraid to be like, well, bro, I don't really get where you're coming from, or I don't understand, or why are you so uptight about this?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're genuinely interested in finding out about me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things that I really wanted to focus on when doing this show.
Mm-hmm.
As Big Jeff would tell you, like I was trying to do something like this for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't find, and I knew I didn't want to do it by myself.
Yeah,
I couldn't find someone with the inquisitiveness that you had.
Yeah.
Like well, you don't feel a certain type of way with asking a nigga like, well, bro, what do you mean? Or I wanted to ask you about that because I was in awe of it. Like a lot of niggas that try to act like, oh, you don't impress me.
Yeah.
Like that's like a lot of niggas will act like that, bro. Like, oh, I'm not impressed by that. So you can't do or have these conversations that you and I have, and it's not just one way. I feel the same way about you. Like there's some things that you state and you say that I'm impressed by. So I have to ask additional questions to it. Yeah. And I know you feel the same way. Like you see some stuff, you're like, that impresses me. Like, let me figure out how we get to that point. A lot of niggas you can't do that with, bro. A lot of niggas got too much pride for that.
Man, so much more I wanna go with this. I'm so intrigued at where you're going with everything here. I just, and I'll speak to some, and then we'll wrap this. I know. Hopefully the listeners is loving this. This has definitely got some time on this one, but like, I really had a hard time, and I don't have a hard time now, but like I had family members, I got cousins, like I've had homeboys, from college, bros, like where like y'all still like you still stuck in the same place, and like it was a challenge for me. I don't mind. I'm a huge nostalgia guy. I want to do a nostalgia podcast if I can make time for it, but but like I'm a huge nostalgia guy, so I love reminiscing about like the old days, and that's the thing that makes me happy. It makes me feel good. Georgia, me moving to Florida, all that, it's got that built right in it. So this is a conversation that we will probably revisit at some point. At some point I want to notify y'all that a lot of these conversations we never can. You talk about things more than once in real life, so understand that at some point some of these subjects we'll talk about a little bit more as life progresses for us. So but there's so much more there, but I'm grateful.
Yeah, some of the topics may be reoccurring because it's a part of growth, right? You got to talk things out. People got to hear it. People got to get familiar with it. You got to be able to make the right decisions. But yes, I think this was a dope conversation, man.
Oh,
it was really good. It didn't really go the way that we thought it was going to go in the sense of, but it went really good in the sense of I think people would take something from this. I was able to vent, get some stuff on my chest, and you were able to as well, and both was able to learn something.
Yeah,
and that's what another week in the books is about, bro.
Yeah, it is, and I love it. I'm so glad to be back again. Before we get out of here, though, Spike, what do you got going on? And I didn't get to ask though, what was your experience like too? Just leading us out of here, like kind of audible in it, like setting up the subjects and all. What was that like for you as well before we get out of here, as well as what you
when you were gone?
Yeah.
Well, I knew I could depend on Rich. Again, man, I don't want to show him too much credit in this. Seem like
you're a hard-working man, though.
Yeah, he is, man. Rich is really good. Again, I'm glad that you introduced me to him.
Me
I'm
too.
glad that I was able to meet that brother, but I knew that I would be able to depend on him to get some good topics, good information going. And I knew that Derb had been, again, we go play golf usually on the weekends. He and I, that's my golf buddy. So I knew that he really wanted to get his brand off the ground. So I thought that it would be dope to be able to launch it here, because I do see his show as a baby of Another Week in the Books. It won't be what you and I do, but it'll be what you and I do amongst men and women, not just black men.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to give him the platform a couple of weeks to be able to talk, get familiar, get more comfortable. And that was the thought process. I just wanted to keep people entertained while you were away and not have them say, I mailed it in over the 3 weeks you were gone.
Mailed it in.
Again, because again, there's this whole story just went through with how I feel like people perceive me and thinking that, oh, he's gonna live in his house forever. Like I just, again, that's a personal.
That's new info.
motivator for me.
I'm glad you presented that. That makes a lot of
It's
sense.
personal. It's a personal motivator for me, man. Like one of the biggest things for me, isn't people being in my ear motivating me and saying, "Oh man, you can do it." Like when I get wind of a motherfucker thinking that I can't,
Y'all, that's the best.
doubting me,
Oh yeah.
or like thinking that he ain't built like this.
Oh yes.
That's the thing. That's probably gonna light the fire under my ass the most. And not saying that you thought that way about me over the 3 weeks, but I knew that people out there expected the best over the 3 weeks that you were gone. So I enjoyed it, man.
Okay.
And I was like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
I plan on being one of the multi-faceted media companies in this generation. So this is what I do.
He top 5, man. Top 4. Since you said there ain't 5 of them better than you. He top 4. What you got going on, Spike?
It ain't. This is going on. Another Week in the Books is going on.
Yeah.
Derb's new podcast is going on. Dead End Sports. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to Ken Ends, my guy Nikki Duce, FIFO 24/7, Shelton J. We are back in season. We took a couple of weeks off because there was no football. There were really no sports, but sports is coming back. Like I told you, Mo, in the next 2 week football season to be started. So that new Dead End feed will be pumping to you live every Tuesday. So you guys make sure you go check that out for the sports topics. Of course, On Deck TV every Wednesday. Good Earners on Friday. Another Week in the Books also on Monday. Wait, excuse me. Good Earners on Monday.
There you go.
Another Week in the Book on Friday.
Yeah.
You gotta get this shit. That's what I'm working on. This is my goal for
he's a busy guy, right?
My last quarter of this year, my goal is working with someone who can help me put all of this stuff together.
Okay.
Like put something together with everything to where people will know where it's at, where it's gonna be, how to promote it.
You need a link
That's
tree.
my goal. Link tree, or even just a marketing plan to help people understand what it is that I do.
Okay.
And how effective that I am in doing it. But yeah, a link tree will be a part of it too. You're right. What about you? What about the new roles?
Yeah, you absolutely right. If y'all been following my page, the_conceptual_ Maurice Hunt. I don't really promote my page because I don't post over there really. But it's funny that the people, I call them my rollers. It's funny that the people that follow roll, they don't like nothing else I post. Like I post, check out Good Earners. I post Another Week of Books. Nobody pop up. When I post anything roll, they pop up out of the woodworks. They leave a comment. Oh, I'm ready. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, when do you, so it's funny they keep a watch on it. So again, for those that
really
listen,
wish I would have been able to get a part in this last season.
Oh, this guy. I told you, man, I would have. We never know what the future holds. I got some ideas, but I gotta see how it's gonna work behind a paywall. So for those that listen to my show, Roll, the audio drama series. Shouts out to Rich again. He's our guy, but he's listened to all 3 seasons, and so we're gonna do something later on, kind of like a interview, conversational thing at some point.
You about it?
Yeah, because he was talking to me in real time about like episodes, but I wasn't revealing too much because I know he wanted to like he's creating some stuff right now that I don't know exactly, but y'all go check out Roll, the audio drama series. It's 3 seasons so far. The 4th season, I have officially written all 8 episodes, so it's done. I just got to record it and mix it. I got to do a little proofing on it, but Y'all, please go run that up. And this 4th season is going to be exciting. It's going to be a great way to land this plane. So y'all go check that out. Like you said, Good Earners on Monday. And I think that is it. Follow us Another Week in the Books on Instagram, and that phone number, I think it's a 470 number. Man, y'all start sending, y'all hit us up. There's listeners that never said anything. As we get out of here, there's listeners that never spoke a word, that hasn't IG'd us, hasn't emailed us, hasn't left a comment, left a review. I'm challenging y'all. If y'all really rock with us, y'all rock with these conversations, I'm asking y'all to reach out. Be a part of the show, man. This is a community based. Our success is built on the change and the impact on people's lives. So I'm asking y'all, I'm challenging y'all, reach out to us. We friendly. Y'all already know if y'all listening. So we appreciate y'all. Anything else, bro?
That number is 470-318-5034. Go ahead and text us stuff that you want included into the show, or leave us a voice note, whatever you want to be included into the show. But it is 470-318-5034.
And you heard it here. We out.
Absolutely.